The special call will begin shortly. We're running a little behind, but thank y'all for jumping in on this, and we'll see how this goes.
will never remove your hand from us as we move forward under your care, under your direction, and under your love. We thank you. Thank you for the day we have to come together in one unity. And Father, just be with us today here at NAPAC. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Amen. I don't see the flag in this room, but we will all repeat together our pledge, and we will hold in our memory our beautiful flag of the United States of America. Let us now say, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now have the clerk administer the roll call, and you may be seated.
Alderman Hall, here. Alderman Frazier. Alderman Smith, here. Alderman Irvin. Alderman Davis. Alderman Dillard. The two presidents now.
That's all right. We're going to proceed with the meeting, but we will not be able to take any official action. But that's okay. And I want to say Alderman Davis wanted so much to be here, but he is convalescing at home from a procedure, and we wish him well. Mr. Bobby, at this point, we're going to turn it over to you. And we are here to listen to you. Oh, but let me tell you something that we've done, something exciting. We looked at your goals 2 weeks ago, and I've got something exciting to report. First of all, we have started the process of getting bids for painting the exterior of this building. We got one bid, and we're getting another one. And we're going to be looking at those bids, and we're going to do all within our power to meet that goal very soon. Another goal that we discussed, y'all want to use a new film experience, and we've already reached out to John Norris, who is, as you know, a movie producer here, works with his partner, Tate Taylor, and John has pledged to us his help, and he knows of local talent in our community that can assist you and assist NAPAC in getting that project done. And I also want you to know that we had a meeting, our community liaison, Jessica Hawkins, and myself, and Kathleen Bond, just a few days ago. And we discussed your desire to have interpretive signage around our community at historic sites, but to have that exhibit here where it then directs people out into the community for a self-guided tour. And they have done this at Melrose. And they have a trail there with various signs and QR reader codes, and you can have a self-guided tour of those grounds. And Kathleen has offered and pledged to help us and to help you to pull that together here. And John Norris and Tate Taylor have also pledged to help with the financial funding in that project and others that they know. And I know we have many in our community who would love to support this so that we can have signs in the community that correspond to an exhibit here. So that's what I can report since our meeting 2 weeks ago.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. NAPAC has been striving very hard to try to show what the African community has given to the building of the city. And that's our basic story. What we wanted the mayor, the board of aldermen to see is to actually come in and pay attention to the exhibits we have. Pay attention to how we present the story. The story of what we consider truth. So many times we omit a piece of the sentence and don't get the story. So many times we present ourselves from a period of time that don't give us the full story. And that is what we're trying to get you to see in the museum. We want to take you from our relationship with the Indians before we were slaves here, our relationship with the French when they first brought us here as slaves, and also free people. These things are recorded. We want to show our relationship with the English, the Spanish, and take you forward in life. We want to show you the relationships that were built during colonization has affected the way we live today. We want to show you the relationship between colonizations and the homes that we show today. Give you a difference. We try to let our public know there are even 2 stages of slavery in our history here. A slave history that comes directly from Africa and a slave history that comes directly from the United States itself. These are important stories we need to let people know. These are stories that show whether or not we are beginning to understand each other and move forward. It's important that our aldermen support us in this because we are part of the city. I was thinking early on today that said, well, you know what, it'll be a good thing for me to say, I feel this way in my heart, that if our Board of Aldermen and Mayor would do a proclamation that says the African American is a vested founder and colonizer of Natchez. A vested. It gives our young people a sense of never holding their head back. You built Natchez as well as everyone else that played a part in building Natchez. This is why we need you to take a deep look at what we have here, and what it is to be the first city on the Mississippi, the oldest city on the Mississippi, the first city of the state of Mississippi. It is important. And if you were to do that, you'd be the first city in the United States to ever say that your whole entire community is invested or a vested member of the building of a society that we want to take forward in the future. Our differences will always be there, but our connection started when Natchez first comes into concept, and we have to show it and tell the story. So now, instead of me talking so much, I would like you guys to take a close look at what we have here. When you finish looking around, feel free to come back and ask us questions. We tell the story of people. We tell the story of events, but the events go back to the people. We want you to get an understanding of us. That's the bottom line. All right?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bob. Before we take a tour, we have our wonderful friends at NAPAC who are so important in why this museum is here. And I would love to hear from you and some of your ideas, your thoughts, concerns, even things that we may have discussed 2 weeks ago and you thought, well, let's talk about this. And when you do address us for the benefit of all of us, please identify yourself and your role here at NAPAC so that we'll know.
I'm one of the founders. We organized in 1990 and we opened the doors to the public in 1991. George Meredith Toles was the spearhead. I'm not going to say much because I'm not feeling well and I'm subject to just run out this way, so I'm sitting in that. But I'll let Ms. Jones, she's one of the founders.
My name is Wendy Jones, and I came into the organization after the 5 years. I wanted to settle But I agree with everything that Bobby has told you, and I'm so glad that you did come today to look around and to see just what we do have to offer. When we started out, we were in a building on Market Street, and a storm damaged that building, so we were able to get this building. And we started out with just a few exhibits, but you can see that those exhibits have grown greatly today. And because of Bobby and other people that we've had over the years, we have been able to do some great things with the museum. But we have a vision for something that's even better. And we are trying to get the help from the mayor and from the board to bring that vision to reality. And I just want to thank you all for coming, and I hope that you enjoy what we have to offer.
I would like to also say that we want to give kudos to Mayor Rich Brown and George Shake, Alderman Martin. They played a key role in us getting this building, so we would like to kudos to them.
We have other board members, Kathy Moody, Francis Wallace, and Charles Terry.
Kathy's been with us from day one, so she's almost like 5 years.
My father died in 1990. So by 1991, I had identified some of his belongings that needed to belong to this museum. He is the person who started the Broadmoor subdivision in 1952, which was long before anybody else thought of doing any civil rights anything. But we have slides of the first houses that were built out there. We have all sorts of very interesting information about a program that he helped found in Fayette that was an adult education program. So all of that was given to Mary Lee Combs. Some of it was destroyed in the storm that damaged the building, but I stayed on the board. It's been my favorite project. There's one thing I'd really like for y'all to be aware of. Not many people are aware of it at all. This exact site was one of the places where William Johnson had a bookstore. If you read his diary, you have to read the footnotes. You have to read the details to find that information. We are very pleased to have been able to accumulate a lending library that was put together specifically for educational purposes, especially for teachers to bring their students here and be able to find books that they might not be able to find in the public library. So public library seems to have a pretty big turnover. They get rid of things pretty fast, but I think they should hold on to, especially things by local authors. But that connection between our lending library and William Johnson's bookstore on the site are very significant to me. Do you all have any questions of me at some point during your tour? Don't hesitate to ask.
My name is Charles Merritt. I came on this board. I moved here in 1992, and I was recruited to be on this board by Judge Toll. She constantly was calling me and said, "We would love to have you on the board." Well, I came here as postmaster, first black postmaster in Natchez since Reconstruction. I stayed here, I remained in that position about 10 years, but I joined the board in 1995. I finally just broke down and said, I'm coming because I'm a big history buff and I love it, and I'm going to come here and see if I can contribute to this museum. Again, like Ms. Jones said, we started on Market Street. There was a little bitty hole in the wall where we were, and we had some of our stuff we couldn't even display it. But I was impressed and always committed to telling our story wherever I've been, because I came from Tennessee, originally from Natchez, Tennessee. And I used to look at that trace when I lived up there and wonder, where did that trace go? And I never knew that one day I would end up in Natchez, Mississippi, where the Natchez trace, and I had traveled that trace. I literally drove, stopped, Indian Mount, everywhere I could stop. And I love it. And to this day, I go up on my motorcycle, I might go up there, grab the tray, take my lunch, sit down, stay in history. I'm just a big history buff. But I worked hard with the museum. There were times when when we first moved in this building, there was so much rain that we didn't meet right out there. And we had roof problems, but I thank God that Mayor Brown let us have the building, and we went to work from there. And we've been constantly trying to grow this museum and share it to the public. But I was always impressed by the visitors that we had. Because I practically ran it, Mary and I and Reverend White, we kind of held things down until we could get it going in here. And the bottom line was, people were coming from all over the world. And I said, why don't our local Natchezians come in here and see what we have? And that's what we've been pushing for years, the local public. The people were more impressed coming from all over the world than, even local people. They didn't realize what we had here. This is a diamond in the rough. And we've been constantly working to improve it, and we can appreciate you coming here today and anything you can do to help us move forward. We want to thank you in advance.
Thanks, sir. I want to just introduce Francis. Francis, were you going to say something? You've got to. Come on, Francis. I've got to introduce this guy because he's got to get back to Jackson. That's what I'm trying to watch the clock for you, Fred.
I didn't really want to say anything, but I just have a zeal for the African Americans in the community, that their story to be told. I was invited here at the museum to volunteer and became a board member, to volunteer to give what I have to the community, and not to be seen, but to give what I have, to bring the knowledge and to bring the people in the community in the museum, and also to bring and by them coming to the museum, they will learn about themselves. And when they learn and read the books and all the materials that we have available, then they will know about themselves. And also people that do not know, people that come from out of town, the tourists and what have you, that they will also learn. We are very talented culture of people, and came through a whole lot, but still standing. And I think the community needs to be aware of us, and we need to be aware of us.
Thank you. I want to say the very first face I ever got to know, the very first face of NAPAC was Francis Wallace. And what a lovely ambassador you are for NAPAC and your passion for this. We're going to see some great things happen. And before he has to go back to Jackson, he's been so generous with his time today. We've been all over Natchez all day long with a very important staff member representing Senator Roger Wicker. We've been everywhere from the airport to the riverport, Forks of the Road, Morgantown Road, even looked at North Natchez, Concord, drainage issues. We appreciate you, Congressman Harper, for what you continually do. Even though you're not our congressman anymore, you're still our congressman in so many ways. And I know you have a passion for this museum.
Don't know, one of the mayor's older brothers was my best friend in elementary school. So I know we're in an official meeting, so I probably shouldn't say that I've known you since you were in diapers. But it's a great family that he comes from, and thank you for letting me be here. I love museums, and I love the history, and what a story this place tells, and what it can tell. And there's so much going on in Natchez that I'm just excited to be a part of and have the opportunity to work with the mayor and many of the you leaders in the community. And just so you know, I was actually one of the speakers at the opening of the Mississippi Civil Rights Museum in Jackson on opening day. was one of the speakers. And I'm proud to say, of course, we're hoping that everything stays on schedule, but in August, I hope to have Secretary Lonnie Bunch here. He is the head of the Smithsonian Institute. He was the founding director of the African American Smithsonian Museum in DC. And he and I got to be friends over the time that I was in Washington. So there's so much here, and it's such a great story. And there also are things, and I know this is going to be the case, and certainly the case for Secretary Bunch, is that people came to him and said, we have this thing from our family that needs to be in a museum that tells part of that story. There's so many treasures that are out there. This is a beautiful building. It's strategically placed, and I expect great things ahead. And thank you, Mayor, for the invite to be here and the opportunity. I look forward to working with each other. Thank you.
Thank you. You just said this is such a beautiful building. It is, and strategically placed. You know, there had been some talk in the community, oh, NAPAC should move here, move there, do this, do that. And you know, I had a conversation with Mayor Brown last year during the fall, during the campaign and other times, and he kept on saying, we are the only city in America that has a museum dedicated to the telling of African American history on Main Street. We're going to keep it that way. This is where and we are dedicated to doing all we can to promoting this, as you said, Congressman, strategic location. You take care. Thank you. Safe travels. Y'all, we're going to take a little tour, but first we have two aldermen here. Francis.
I would like to say that I need to give you your accolades because I'm so appreciative of you. You heard me talk and you heard that we need, and you stepped in and had the ability to pull people in and to think about the museum and to pull people in to accommodate us and to give us money and funds and whatever to move things forward. And I thank you. Thank you.
It's such a tremendous pleasure and a tremendous honor. Thank you. You know, this is sacred to the history. And by the way, we have Alderman Dan Dillard here. Alderman Dillard, you're just in time. We're about to take a tour, but before we do, we're opening it up for comments from our aldermen and alderwomen. And we'll start with our alderwoman, Sarah Carter Smith.
Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad to be here today. I have taken the tour before. I think probably right when I first came on the board 9 years ago. And then I've been to several events here. And I think that we're in such a good place in Natchez that we're becoming so visible. We have so many good things going on. I think that this will be a time that we can do the things that y'all wanted to do for so long. Tax revenue's going to be up. We've got more attention from the federal government. We've got more attention from the state. We've got all the things. We've got a mayor that's very invested in all parts of our community, and I know our board is as well. We all feel the same way, and all so want to see this place be the best that it can be. And it is fascinating. It's a fascinating tour, and I'm just really excited and glad that y'all have such a great board that's so interested in making some changes too. So, and this building is special. And I'm looking forward to great things to come. Thank you.
Alderwoman Valencia Hall.
I want to thank the board members, also and founders for coming to a meeting a few weeks ago with us to generate ideas as to how we can improve this. My family's been in Natchez well over 100 years. So we have a lot of history in this community. And I also, many years ago, toured this facility with my family. So we're looking forward to making this an even better facility. And they've been telling the history more and more.
And Alderman, Mayor Pro Tem, Dan Dillard.
Thank you. I too, without echoing and repeating, but we have something special here. Natchez is special, and the African American community here is special more so than any other. And it is a treasure to be able to have these artifacts and have them displayed for the next generations to know where they came from and how we got here. And so we're really lucky to have this, and I'm thankful that those that have invested their time and their energies into seeing this materialize are probably going to be the same ones that have the energy to push it, to the next level. But we have something real special. I'm very proud of it. Thank you.
One of the other things, and I know the mayor and I talked about this as well, is I would love, I think that we're at the point where we can make this happen down the road, have a full-time curator here that can really help bring the museum to a different level. And then also that opens the door to a lot of funding that we could possibly get when you do have that. So, we can make this happen.
We can make this happen. Alderman Smith, I'm so glad you mentioned that. Just this week, I got an email from the American Association of African American Museums. I may be getting that wrong, but it's basically the association nationally that helps promote the African American museums across our country. And they were putting out information on some grants. And I thought, but there's a lot of detail that has to go into this and a lot of expertise. And I thought, wow, when we get a curator, then that's when we can get these grants and really bring more attention here. So let's make that a goal in the very near future to find the funds so that we can have a curator. Absolutely. Glad you brought that up. Okay. Alderwoman Hall.
I think one concern with curator from the members I've spoken with is that it's not going to negate you all telling your own story. It's just another avenue for you to be able to get funding for what is needed.
Oh no, I'm glad you mentioned that. This board, the leadership of NAPAC, will always remain who you are. You are vested. And so what we bring today is resources to help. And every step of the way, Mr. Bobby, we've started our relationship. Every step of the way, consider us your partner and working with you. And you will have continued leadership and control here. I want to make sure we say that for the record. Because y'all are the reason this is here and the reason it will continue to be here. All right. Ready to walk around?
Do you want to adjourn this, or are we going to
Tell you
do
what
it?
we're going to do. Because we don't have a quorum for the purposes of our broadcast, we are now going to call this informal meeting of the Board of Aldermen to a close. We're going to adjourn it, and we'll spend the rest of our time taking a tour. Thank you.